The Netherlands just did something almost unheard of. It took control of a Chinese-owned chipmaker, Nexperia, a major supplier of semiconductors used in cars and consumer electronics, is now under the watch of The Hague. Why? Because the Dutch government says there's a risk to Dutch and European economic security. It's a move that could ripple across Europe, the United States, and China. And yet, it barely made some of the front pages. Today, we unpack why this matters and why it's more than just a corporate takeover. Nexperia started as part of Philips and is now by China's Wintec. After concerns about national security, the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs invoked the Goods Availability Act, a law designed to protect critical goods in times of exceptional risk. Wintec has pushed back, saying it will defend its rights and seek government support. This isn't happening in isolation. Nexperia was forced to sell its Newport plant in the United Kingdom last year under similar security concerns. And the United States already has Wintec on its so-called entity list, meaning American companies are restricted from supplying it without approval. So this is both an European assertion of control and a signal that the tech supply chain is now a geopolitical battlefield. Europe has been talking about strategic autonomy for years, but now it's happening in practice. The Dutch government's intervention shows a willingness to put industrial policy into service of security policy. Semiconductor plants aren't just factories, they're critical infrastructure. The Goods Availability Act is rarely used, which makes this intervention highly exceptional. Now, make no mistakes, the stakes are clear. Nexperia makes chips from everything from cars to consumer electronics. And in a crisis, Europe wants to ensure these chips don't just disappear because the owner is in Beijing. Europe is now part of the US-China tech decoupling, but in its own way. Beijing will see this as protectionist. Brussels calls it resilience. Russia's war, US export bans, and rising China tensions are forcing Europe to pick sides, or at least protect itself. This is more than semiconductors. It's about control. Who decides whether the chips keep flowing when things go wrong? The immediate impact is hitting Europe's auto industry and general tech history. Volkswagen, Bosch, BMW are now scrambling to find alternatives to Nexperia chips. Now, these chips are not easy to replace. Supply chains are months long. The result? Potential production delays and urgent meetings across Europe to prevent outages. It's a reminder of how tightly intertwined technology and industrial capabilities have become. The last time we saw this kind of disruption was during the global chip shortage in 2020-2021. And this time, the world is watching even more closely. So what happens now? In the short term, Europe's automakers are in crisis mode, scrambling to find alternative chip suppliers, redesign electronics, and certify new production lines. On paper, it may sound simple, just switch suppliers. But in reality, it can take months. Chips aren't interchangeable, they have specific designs, tolerances, and certifications. And even if a new supplier exists, scaling production to meet Europe's automotive demand is a massive challenge. Supply chains that look easy to fix on a spreadsheet are brutally difficult to rebuild in practice. In the medium term, the Dutch precedent could inspire other European countries to take similar actions. Germany, France, and Italy may start evaluating foreign ownership of strategic tech firms. Europe may consider foreign rules on critical technology sovereignty, giving governments more oversight of companies producing essential technology. Some talk about this as an opportunity, investing in domestic chip production, diversifying supply chains, and bringing strategic industries under European control. The reality, however, is that building fabs, training staff, securing equipment, and lining up raw materials take years and billions of euros. Diversification isn't just about money. It's about technical complexity and coordination across borders. There's also a diplomatic track. Europe could negotiate guarantees from China to maintain chip supply, but nothing comes for free. To secure these guarantees, Europe would have to offer something in return. continued market access for Chinese tech firms, co-investment in European production, trade concessions in other sectors, or long-term purchase commitments. Even then, such guarantees are fragile. They can fail if geopolitical tensions escalate. Diplomacy can buy time, but it cannot replace the hard work of actually producing chips at scale. Long term, Europe could achieve a partial tech decoupling from China, enough to segment supply chains and reduce some dependence, but it won't happen overnight. Chips are no longer just about technology, they are about sovereignty, security, and who decides when things go wrong. The lesson here is simple in theory, but brutally hard in execution. Supply chains are easy to talk about, but impossible to rebuild overnight.